Have you ever heard this line? To be or not to be? That is the question. This is a very famous line from Shakespeare, and it's poetry. But what is poetry? And how do poets make their writing so interesting and powerful? Poetry is a special kind of writing. It uses rhythm, rhymes, sounds, and feelings to share ideas. And poetry has specific elements that make it different from any other kind of writing. Let's look at them. Poems have verses. A verse is one line in a poem. Poems also have stanzas. A stanza is a group of verses together, kind of like a paragraph, but in poetry form. And poems have rhymes sometimes. A rhyme is when sounds at the end of words are the same. For example, cat, hat, sun, fun. So let's look at a short poem to understand this better. The moon is bright, it lights the sky, the stars are shining way up high. Each line of this poem is a verse. The two lines together make one stanza. And sky and high are a rhyme because they have the same ending sound. Now, poems usually display a big idea or a lesson. That is called the theme of the poem. The author is the person who writes the poem, and the reader is the person who reads the poem. Poems use symbols. They use objects to represent other things. For example, you've seen hearts. Usually hearts represent love. That would be a symbol. Poems also have a tone, which is the author's attitude, the author's feeling. What attitude or feeling are they displaying in the poem? Are they serious? Are they funny? Are they angry? And when we talk about poetry, we also talk about the mood, which is how the poem makes the reader feel. The poem makes the reader feel happy, sad, calm? Now let's check real quick what we've learned so far. What is a group of verses? Type it in the comments. That's right, stanza. Who writes the poem? The author. And what is the big idea of a poem? You got it, that's the theme. Now that you know the building blocks of poetry, we're going to take a look at something that's called figurative language. Figurative language is how poets make their words sound more alive and interesting. Let's look at some examples. The first one is simile. Simile is a figurative language that compares things using words like or as. For example, her smile is like the sun. Now you could try one. Try this. My backpack is as heavy as. Another thing the authors use in poems is metaphor. A metaphor is to say that one thing is another thing. For example, you probably heard, life is a journey. Time is money. Those are metaphors. Now, another figurative language that authors used is personification. When you use personification, you give human actions to non-human things. Non-human things take life. For example, the wind whispers. The plate dances. Now, another figurative language is hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggeration. For example, I can say, I'm so hungry, I could eat 100 tacos. Am I really gonna eat 100 tacos? No, but I'm exaggerating. Now, another figurative language is alliteration, which is a play with sounds. So the words in a verse, a lot of them starts with the same sound. For example, big brown bear. The last one I want to share with you is onomatopoeia. It's words that sound like what they mean. For example, bzz, bang, splash. Now let's do a quick check. Which figurative language compares using words like and as? If you said simile, you're right. Which figurative language uses words that makes sounds? Onomatopoeia would be the answer. Which figurative language is an exaggeration, like eating 100 tacos? Hyperbole, you got this. Thank you for watching this video. For more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like this video.